sharing value. So I think a lot of us have sort of maybe pre-recorded modules and stuff like that. How much of that would you put out there? Or would you put it out in a different form? Or, because I think maybe some of us, at least I do, have the anxiety of sharing all of it and then maybe having nothing left. Well, obviously implementation is important, but
great
maybe
question.
you could just speak to that.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your name again?
Tom.
Tom. Okay. So this question of how much do we share? Do you just give away all your content? Or do you hold it back? Do you give 10%? How do you choose that 10%? You know, I don't know. This is just my opinion. This is how I do it, so that's all I can offer. Maybe Jemmy, you'll have some thoughts too, or you may have some thoughts, but I generally just give it all away. There's nothing in this workshop that is not either on my YouTube or won't eventually be on my YouTube. Okay, and it's just, here's why, there's a few reasons I suggest giving it all away. One, it impresses people. That's good. You know, people get to, it builds credibility, in other words. Oh, I can trust this person. I like what they have to say. I like their point of view. And I don't give it all away. I suppose the way I do it is I do little videos like this one I'm recording here. That's not incredibly well thought out. A webinar where I've really designed it, I might sell for money. Yeah, that's a little bit longer, just well more structured, yeah. And remember, easy is the new free. Easy is the new free. If you can say, I'm gonna put this whole thing together in an arc, people pay for the ease. Could they just go through all my YouTubes and put together a curriculum themselves? They could, but they don't want to. So there's a number of things that people are paying for that's not just information. I think we get lost in thinking, oh, but people, that's why they're paying me, is for the info. Let's just list a few other things people pay for. One, just the convenience. You've already organized it. Yes, all those things are on your blog and I could go and look at on the screen, but you've also put it into a book that you upgraded and updated. The book is easier for me than trying to put it together myself or searching for things for hours. So one, people pay for convenience. Two, people pay for the occasion. This is enormously important to understand. Again, there's nothing here today that you can't find on my YouTube or my Instagram or products, but you're here. Why did you come today? Part of why you came is because I have a whole day, I can set it aside to just work on this. Why do we go to retreats? Couldn't you do that shit at home? You know how to do yoga. You can buy the juice that you would get at this spa juice, there's a certain level it makes no sense. Why are you spending $1,000 on a plane ticket, $1,000 for the accommodations, God knows how much for the retreat, when you could you have the books, maybe of that teacher. You could just do it yourself at home. But no, but are you going to do it at home? Probably not. But I know if I go there, then there's a structure. Yeah, so people pay for the occasion connected without the structure. Is there something, an architecture that will hold me on this journey? People pay for community. Oh, I can do it, but be with other people and not be so lonely and just being in my micro apartment trying to figure this shit out on my own. People also pay for a translation, and this is a big one. Again, the thing I give away the most of is stuff on niching. Pound for pound, I got more of that free than just about anything. So why are people paying me? That's the one thing they should not be paying me for. But that's the thing they mostly do. Why? Because it's like niching. I get it. The theory's great. I love it. What's my niche? Point of view marketing. I love it. Brilliant idea. But what's my point of view? People need help with the translation of these things. That's sort of a metaphor I use often I've used from time to time is the wool, the weaving, and the wearing. The wool is just the information. Yeah? Lots of wool in the world. But then we weave it together in a certain pattern. This is our point of view. This is what I think looks good. Here's this certain weave. And it's very distinct to us. Yeah? But then people still will look at that and they say, I love that pattern. That is a gorgeous pattern. I want a coat that will fit me made out of that. But I don't know how to make coats. Could you help? Let me help tailor this so it fits you just right. Yeah. Gemma, you got something?
Yeah, I have a framework that's super simple. Can I draw it on
Yeah, come on up. Everybody give a hand for Gemma.
So, I used to be an English teacher.
You're still English.
Yeah, still English. This is called the format learning framework that I found super useful for structuring or teaching all content, but it also helps you with your marketing. So the bits you want to share in your marketing is why does it matter and what does it look like to get it right. So if I'm talking about curriculum design, why does it matter? Because you want your students to complete your program, right? And if there's not a good client experience, they'll get disengaged, demotivated, and they won't get great results. So why does it matter in the first place? If people aren't bought into the why, they don't even care about how to do it because they don't know why it's important in the first place. Next, you want to say, right, well, what are the characteristics of doing this right? So I might say, well, first of all, good curriculum design gives good context. So it steps out a lot and it shows them the bigger picture as well as the smaller pieces. Good curriculum design also creates demand for the next module. So they want to do the next step because you've seeded them, you've seeded the next idea and made it exciting. And I'm going to tell them all of the things that look like to get it right. But then in my program, I'm going to go super deep into the how. And I'm going to have a worksheet that walks them step by step into, right, here's how we're going to show the context. Here's how we're going to create milestones. Here's how we're going to create demand for the next module. And then it's next steps. Or watch out for. So what TAD isn't massively doing today is here's all the things you need to do it right, but here's all the ways you might get it wrong. And this is why if you actually worked with TAD, he's going to go, okay, for niching for your business, but you're in this industry, and actually this one's super competitive, so actually you've got to go way more sophisticated in your messaging, and you really need to watch out for this, so your next steps are going to be this. This is the stuff people pay for, the implementation. This is the context that buys them in to doing it your way. So this is your free marketing. You can even give them quite a bit of this because they still can't do it without your help, which is why we're still talking about niching when we've all done 1,000 exercises on it, right? So, and we'll have worked on multiple people on it because it's not as simple as just answer these questions, it's nuanced. But this helps me decide what to share in my free content versus my paid program.
Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. But generally, I just tend to share a lot of it. But again, it's not just information that people want. That's really not the major thing, because the world is drowning in information. There's so much. If you want to know the answer, it's already on YouTube. And there's too much of it on YouTube. You can get a very specific question, and you still get there's just too much. Okay, so then what are people paying for? Yeah, they're paying for a lot of this implementation and hand-holding and structure and and there's 10% of people just DIY. If you gave them the how and all this, they could just do it.
It also doesn't need to be digital. My friend Charlie does a day of clarity because to someone's point earlier, or someone's limits that you were talking to, you can't do less than a day with anyone.
Yeah.
And he sends people a candle and a bowl.
Beautiful.
And a box of how to get clear in 42 steps that they weren't expecting. So it doesn't always have to be, right, a digital thing. It could be,
right.
And even more these days, the free thing could be something quite novel and nothing related to the business, if you like, of what they think they're all about.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think if there's any last thoughts. So yeah, how much do we give away? Okay, I think I've said it. But other things, by the way, in terms of content, because sometimes people get stuck on, well, there's so much, but sometimes I don't know what to put up. Here's the easiest thing I can say for free content that really kind of goes the what and the why with a bit of how, but also I think whets people's appetite for more is sharing stories. So just try this. This is the easiest. This will sound too easy, but this is the mother lode of it. If every day for the next month you spent 5 minutes a day and you thought, is there a story of something that's happened in the last 24 hours that is a good illustration of my point of view? I promise you there is. Something small, it could be something you read. Could be a coaching session you had. I mean, I've got so many videos, 40 or so videos on YouTube of puttering session case studies. It's like, hey, I just got off the phone with a client, here's what we talked about. And here's a lesson I think you can all pull from it. A story. And I'm giving an incarnation, an example of the content, my philosophy that I'm talking about. Or I was at the store today, and this happened at the store. That's content. I read this book, and this quote jumped, or I just watched a little video somebody shared on YouTube, and they said this, and here's what it made me think about, and here's how this applies to you. Stories are just endless content. You could just have story after story after story. And it just keeps giving people lenses. This was what I was trying to remember. There was a fellow I know who does, so what do you do? Digital communications. I said, the fuck is that? And he said, I take photos and videos. I said, okay, for nonprofits. And he said, and I said, so what do they mostly bring you in for? He said, mostly fundraising videos. Yeah, because that's what they can justify spending the money on. He said, but it's hard to get the gigs. This is almost 20 years ago. But I said, here's what I would do if I were you. First of all, they're trying to struggle to raise the money to actually hire you. So one, as a pink spoon, as a free sample, could you create a how to fund your fundraising video PDF? Just here's a bunch of ideas you can use to get money. Here's some grants that are available in Canada. Here's how you can do a quick GoFundMe campaign. Here's how you can go to your existing funders. Here's a, cut and paste text, etc. You see what I'm saying? If they can raise the money, they're more likely to hire him. Good thing to give away for free on the free content side. But I said the other thing I'd do is I might just do a day-long workshop on how to film your own fundraising video just using a camera and iMovie, your iPhone and iMovie. And then just give it all away. Tell them everything you do, all the little editing tricks. And what will happen is by the end of the day, 10% of them will say, thank you, we're gonna go do it. And 90% will say, I'm completely overwhelmed. Now that I see everything that's involved to actually make it look good, oh my God, can we just hire you? Yeah, there's a woman, Tammy Johnston in Calgary, has a business, The Financial Guide. She did a day-long workshop on finances. And it was so good, 70% of people wanted to be her client. Yeah, she just was giving it like, here's what you need to do. Yeah, here's what this is. Here's why it matters. A little bit about how to do it. But of course, the how ends up being, now we're in the weeds a bit. Because it may be different in different situations. But generically, here's how. But then people just say, can I just hire you to help me with this? Yeah. Okay, pause there.